Hi again, Mark here from Talking Bass. This week I'm proud to announce a cool new feature in the Talking Bass site, the 25 Bass Groove Challenge. This is part of the Talking Bass practice area and can be accessed by all Talking Bass members. The Talking Bass membership is totally free. Just visit the website and sign up and you'll gain access to the 25 Bass Groove Challenge, the 25 Slap Groove Challenge and a ton of other free practice resources and ebook downloads like the scale reference manual. The 25 Bass Groove Challenge is a set of 25 short grooves that progressively increase in difficulty from both a technical and rhythmic standpoint. Groove number 1 is comparatively simple, making use of easy 8th notes on a single string. By groove number 25, you'll have worked through 16th note funk grooves, ghost notes, hammer-ons, pull-offs, slides, and odd time signatures. Each groove focuses on a specific area of playing, and by playing through the complete set, you'll be able to highlight certain deficiencies in your technique and musicianship. So let's work through 7 of the grooves from the challenge just to give you an idea of how the challenge works. The grooves are all demonstrated in the studio as a rhythm section by myself and the great studio drummer Rupert Brown, who's played and recorded with artists like Daryl Hall, Cher, and Robbie Robertson. So first of all, let's have a look at groove number 1. So this groove is the easiest of the whole set, and it all takes place on a single string. So let's just work through the notes that we've got in there. So this is all straight 8th notes, and the riff sounds like this. Okay, so some of you might recognize that as being very similar to the theme from Peter Gunn, which is kind of what I've aimed for there. So we start on an open E string. Just play that twice, and then we have a G there, 3rd fret of the E string, and back to the open E string. So then A at the 5th fret of the E string, and then back to the open E again. And then we have A flat to G. So this is 4th fret to 3rd fret. Then we repeat all of that. But instead of the A flat to the G, we have F sharp to G, which is 2nd fret to 3rd fret on the E string. And that's the whole thing. So round and round. So as you can see there, that's a pretty simple groove. But there are a few things that you need to pay attention to. First of all, it's all full note duration. So there's no choking or anything like that. So every note has to be for its full duration. So instead of, no staccato notes, no little chokes in there, they are all full duration. Ba, 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 okay? And in terms of the fingering on this hand, it's all just alternate fingering. So just 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. In terms of the left hand, you can pretty much finger this how you want, but here I'm playing with the 1st and the 4th fingers for the G and the A. And then for those 2 little sections there, A flat to G and F sharp to G, I'm using the 1st and 2nd fingers. And that's it. So that's the whole riff. From a rhythmic standpoint, again, it's very, very simple. Just straight 8th notes. But even though it's very, very simple, it's still worth, especially for beginners, really focusing on the subdivisions in there. You want to be counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and really aiming for good time and accurate subdivisions in there. Each one of those 8th notes wants to be, equidistant from the next. So you can use the strong beats in there, for instance the G and A there, as waypoints and really focus on getting those smack bang on those accented drums, so the bass drum or the snare. Every time there's an accent, really focus on that and hearing what drum you should be matching up with. Okay, so let's try that with the drum track. Next, let's have a look at groove number 4. In this groove, we're going to be making use of multiple fingers in this left hand. So we're going to be looking at a 1 finger per fret system. This riff is in the key of E flat, and we start on the E flat here at the 6th fret of the A string. And for each note that we play, or at least most of them, we're going to be playing 2 hits. So it's going to be in the picking hand, 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay, so we've got E flat, and then we come up chromatically. We've got G, then A flat, A, and B flat. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th frets on the E string. And in terms of the fingering in this hand, we start with that E flat with the 4th finger, okay? So we kind of have a 1 finger per fret spread here. So we've got the 1st finger taking the 3rd fret, 2nd finger taking the 4th fret, 3rd finger taking the 5th fret, and the 4th finger taking the 6th fret. So 4th finger, 1st finger, 2nd finger, 3rd finger, 4th finger. Then we move up to the C, 3rd fret of the A string, and then back to the B flat. Okay, so then we have D flat and D, 4th fret and 5th fret on the A string. For the second half, we play pretty much the same thing. But when we get to the C, there at the 3rd fret of the A string, we play that twice. Then we have the G flat played twice at the 4th fret of the D string, then F at the 3rd fret of the D string, and then the D natural at the 5th fret of the A string. So the F and the D are only played once, and that brings us back to the start. So okay, so all the way through that, just alternating the fingers. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So this riff is particularly good for beginners trying to make use of multiple fingers in the left hand. So don't worry if you can't make the stretch at first. One thing that you might have to do here is pivot the hand round a little so that each of the fingers is lined up on that E string. So you want to be able to curl the fingers a little and just bring it round so that the 1st and the 4th fingers are all level with the E string. You don't want anything like this. You want to bring it round. Okay, so I've got my elbow tucked in a little bit there. Bring them round. You've got the thumb in the back there so that you can just hold the hand there, 1st finger over the 3rd fret and the 4th finger over the 6th fret. Now, if you can't make that initial stretch, then you just have to do a little bit of pivoting. So maybe come down like this. You know, you can move the hand around, but still try to make use of each finger in there. So don't worry necessarily about the stretch, it's more about the fingers that you're using, okay? Just move the hand accordingly and pivot the thumb in the back as you move, and that'll give you a little bit more of a, well, not a stretch, but just better for making the moves, okay? So start out slow with that, build up speed, keeping good technique and good time, and then eventually you can try with the backing track. Next, we'll have a look at groove number 8. So we've moved on a little bit here, and now we're looking at joint barring. Okay, so let's have a look at the groove. So here we're in the key of B minor, and we're going to be making use of quite a bit of joint barring in the 4th finger. Now, I've talked about joint barring on some of the other videos, but I will quickly go over it here as well as we work through the riff. So to begin with, we have the following. So this is all taking place around a B minor, but it's a B power chord pretty much. So we've got B, F sharp, and B. So 2nd fret and then 4th fret on the D and the G string. So we work up and back down. And then A to F sharp, 2nd fret to G string, 4th fret on the D string. Okay, and then the B again at the 2nd fret of the A string. And then we've got F sharp to the B again, and back down. Then the A to the F sharp again. And then finally, F sharp to the G sharp, 2nd fret to the 4th fret on the D string. Okay. Next, we'll repeat those 2 bars. Then we move up to the D, and we're going to play pretty much the same kind of line. So we've got D, A, and D. So this is 5th fret and then the 7th fret on the D and G string. And then the C down to the A, so that's 5th fret G string to the 7th fret on the D string. And then we move chromatically down, so we're going to move down to the D flat. So that's D flat, A flat, and the D flat, so 4th fret A string, and then the 6th fret on the D and the G string. And then chromatically down again to the C, so this is C, G, C, 3rd fret, A string, 5th fret, D string, and back, okay? So all of that sounds like this. Oh, sorry. Okay, so just look through the tab and the sheet music there with the rhythm, and you'll be able to get that down. So all of that together. So there's a few things to look at here. So we've got the joint barring with the 4th finger there across the D and the G string, and we've also got some choking. You know, we're going to be creating some gaps in there, some space, and also we've got offbeat rhythms in there. So first of all, let's have a look at this joint barring. So when we play across that B there, the extended power chord, the root 5th and the octave, I'm playing the B there, the 2nd fret of the A string with the 1st finger in the fretting hand, and I've got that curled, and then we have these, the F sharp and the B there, both played with the 4th finger. So just as I've shown in the other lessons, when we play the F sharp at the 4th fret of the D string, I've got the finger slightly curled, the 4th finger there, and then as I go to play the B there on the G string, I flatten out the finger somewhat and kind of rock the hand back slightly. So I pull back so that I'm actually fretting it with that joint there. Okay, so I'm using the leverage of the hand to kind of seesaw back and forth between those 2 notes. So, you know, when you first start seeing somebody using this kind of technique, you know, just using one finger, especially the 4th finger, to bar across, it's easy to think, oh, that's going to be really, really tricky to do, and I'm going to need lots of finger strength. And actually, it's not really finger strength. I'm using a lot more leverage than actual finger strength, okay? So, first things first, just get used to going between those notes. And then once you can do that, you'll find the rest of it a lot easier. Now, rhythmically, this riff is pretty much all 8th notes with a few little gaps in there, but it's all 8th note based, so it's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But we do have the little gaps, the rests to think of. So if I just work through it, that's all 8th notes, but then we have an 8th note rest, so we want silence there. So when I do that, I bring the fingers back into what I call home position, but I just rest them across the strings to just completely mute that. And then we hit that B, that 2nd fret of the A string again, we hit that on the and of 4. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, which gives us a little bit of syncopation. Okay? So really, really focus on getting the silence in there. So work on that really slowly, building up the technique in those bars, and really focus on getting that silence around those offbeats, and then you can try with the track. Next, let's have a look at groove number 20, which is more of a funk groove, making use of 16th notes and ghost notes. So this groove is pretty much in F minor and all based around an F Dorian. We start on the F at the 8th fret of the A string, and then we have a ghost note on the G string. So I'll cover these ghost notes in a sec. So then we have the D to the E flat there on the G string, so 7th fret to 8th fret. So we pick the D and hammer on the to the E flat. Okay, then we have two ghost notes on the D string. Then we have the A flat and then the F. So we've got the minor third there in the root. So this is the 6th fret of the D string and then the 8th fret again on the A string. So really, really focus on getting that little move down. So really, really slow to begin with. Next, we have a ghost note on the A string and then the D to the E flat. So this is 5th fret to 6th fret. So, and then we have the E flat there at the 8th fret of the G string. And then another ghost note on the A string to bring us round. Okay, and then we're back at the start. So, for the second half of the riff, it's pretty much the same. But then we have this E flat, E natural, and back to the E flat. So 2 on the E flat, 6th fret of the A string, and then 1 on the E natural at the 7th fret. So, and we have the ghost note before it. So. Okay, so there's a lot of little ghost notes in there to think about. So, slowly from the start. So from a technical standpoint, the main thing to worry about here is the ghost notes. So a ghost note obviously is that dead kind of sound which you get by just holding down the fingers over the strings. So I'd advise to start on the F there at the 8th fret of the A string with the second finger of the fretting hand. Then you use pretty much this part of the hand, the back end of those knuckles there, to make the ghost note there. So you hold that down slightly to get that, and then we use the first finger to the second finger for the note and the hammer on D to E flat. Then you just lay those fingers across again for the ghost notes on the D string, which sets us nicely for the return on the A flat to the F. Okay. Then again, we're in the home position. I'm holding the hand right there over pretty much all of the strings. And then you're just free to play that slide into the octave. So we just slide in. So I play with the first finger, slide into the E flat, and then catch that nice little octave there. So we're keeping everything nice and sharp there, nice and staccato. Okay. So as soon as you've played that octave, you bring the fingers back into the home position and you hit the ghost note again to bring us round. And then obviously on the second time, I'm just using the first and the second fingers there. Okay, so there's quite a bit to think of there in terms of the movement of the hand with the ghost notes. So start it out slowly. You know, if you've never played any ghost notes before, this is going to be a pretty tough one to try. But like I say, through this 25 bass groove challenge, you will find which areas of your technique are deficient pretty much, so that you know which parts to work on. I've got lots of lessons on YouTube and in the Basic Fundamentals course, all dealing with this kind of stuff, with all of these ghost notes and, you know, the joint barring and all of that stuff. So let's try that with the track. Lastly, let's have a look at groove number 24, which is one of the odd time grooves in there in 5/8. So this riff's in G sharp minor, pretty much G sharp Dorian, and it's in the time signature of 5/8. And first of all, you really want to get to know where the accents are in there, because when you learn where the accents are in an odd time signature, it can help with feeling it and actually making it more natural. So here we have 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. So we've got an accent on the and of 2 there. So 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. So there's no accent there on the 3, it's on the and of 2, so we've got that anticipation. So 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and we hit on the 4 on the 5. So if you can just get used to actually counting that, you know, counting those accents, vocalizing those accents, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. While you're clicking your fingers, you know, tapping your foot, nodding your head, whatever, get used to the independence there. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. And that's the general accent. So now we know where those accents are, let's put some notes in there. So like I said, it's in G sharp minor. We start with the G sharp at the 4th fret of the E string. So that's our first hit. Then we're going to have the octave there. So this is going to be the G sharp at the 6th fret of the D string. And then we've got F sharp and back to the G sharp. So 4th fret to 6th fret on the D string. So they're the main accents, okay? So like I said, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. Now we can put some little ghost notes in there. So the first ghost note is after that upper octave, so it's leading into that F sharp there. So okay, so let's try that round and round. Okay, the other ghost note is actually voiced more as an open string, but it goes by so fast that you don't hear the E. Okay, so that's leading back in on to beat 1. So now we can look at the variations. So in bar 2 we have, so got the octave again, and then instead of the F sharp to the G sharp, we have 2 hits on the B at the 4th fret of the G string, and then back to the G sharp at the 4th fret of the D string. So those 2 bars together. For bar 3, we have a repeat of bar 1. Then finally, for bar 4, we have, okay, so we start with the F sharp to G sharp there on the E string, 2nd fret to 4th fret, so then we have the B at the 2nd fret of the A string, then we have a ghost note on the D string, and then we come down, 2 hits on the F sharp at the 4th fret of the D string, F natural, 3rd fret of the D string, and then C sharp at the 4th fret of the A string. And that's it. So very slowly the whole thing. So obviously the hardest thing here is just getting used to that feel of 5/8, just round around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could see this as 5/4, just at a much faster tempo, but I feel like these little notes in there and it's all very 16th note bass, you know. That's more a dotted 8th note, 16th note. So in that sense, I'm seeing it as 5/8. So let's have a listen to that with the backing track, and the counting here is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and, okay, which you'll hear with the snare at the end. Okay, so that's the 25 bass groove challenge. Remember, just follow the link in the info below to visit Talking Bass, sign up for the free membership, and you'll find the groove challenge there in the practice area alongside all the other cool free resources. So give me a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next week.